Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Wanted to seek the blessing of Radha Madhava, Radha Shyam Sundar Krishna, Balaram, Bal Gopal. The sing de Bhagwan Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Shishi Gaur Nitai, Tulsimani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So, today is the final bit of the second canto. It's a smaller canto, smallest canto actually, 10 chapters. So we are on chapter 9. And in the previous chapter, if devotees recall, Pariksit Maharaj had many questions. Many questions he asked of Sukadeva Goswami. And then now, slowly, Sukadeva Goswami will start replying those. And throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, he will be touching on the answers to the questions of Pariksit Maharaj. So, he answers, this chapter is called Answers by citing the Lord's version. Brahma's austerity. Sukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit that Lord Brahma could not trace out the source of his lotus seat. So when Lord Brahma appeared, he was bewildered because he didn't know what to do. So he sat in meditation, nothing happened. Then he went down the lotus flower, the root, the stem. He went down, trying to find the source of where does that lotus start from, and he couldn't find it. It was so deep. And while thinking of creating the material world, Brahma heard twice two syllables joined together. Tappa. Tappa means austerity. Tap. Brahma searched for the speaker of the sound. Unable to trace the source, he was inspired and directed by the Lord within the heart to perform austerities for 1,000 celestial years for the purpose of creation. Thereafter, the Supreme Lord was pleased to reveal himself and his abode to Lord Brahma. The spiritual planets are full of goddesses of fortune who are serving him with all opulence. Sukadeva Goswami gives a description of the Lord and his abode, Vaikuntha. So this is an idea of Vaikuntha. This is a window into the spiritual world. Lord Narayan is worshipped in awe and reverence. And even those who are worshipping the Lord have the same, very similar body. Of course, not the same potency, but very similar features as the Lord. 4 hands, bluish color, shyam color, the helmets, the decoration. You can't actually tell the difference between them, practically speaking. But the Lord is worshipped and everybody is his worshipper in awe and reverence. So there's no fooling around. It's very strict sense of worship. Unlike in Golok Vrindavan, there's a lot of fooling around. As we heard in the bhajan about throwing colors at each other. Vaikuntha, that won't happen. That cannot happen. Because there's awe and reverence. There's huge respect for the Lord. Of course, in Golok Vrindavan, the respect is in a little different form. It's in the form of fun. The Lord is pleased. Upon seeing the Lord, Brahma was overwhelmed with joy, and in ecstasy his eyes filled with tears. The Lord expressed his pleasure with the penances that Brahma had performed and shook his hand. So this is a tradition that goes back to the beginning of time, shaking of hands. Of course, nowadays we try not to shake hands. Fantastic to shake hands with the Supreme Lord. But the risk of infection nowadays is a little too high. So we do the traditional Bharatiya style, Namaste, which is so powerful as well. But it's very soothing to read the Lord shook his hand. That's incredible. He explained that the highest benediction is to see the Lord face to face. And this has been possible because of Brahma's submissive attitude. So, to see the Lord face to face is very, very rare. Highest benediction. So then, Brahma expressed the desire to know about the Lord's spiritual and material forms, how the Lord creates, maintains, annihilates the creation, and requested that he be empowered to do his service of creation without becoming entangled by pride. So this is, Lord Brahma is really leading the way, because it's important to do our seva, whatever we can do for the pleasure of the Lord. But sometimes in the process of doing the seva, some opulence may come, some respect may come, so many different things may come, will come. And if it affects our pride, then we are, because Maya is very strong, if it makes us proud, that, hey, I am such a big person, look, I'm so close to the Lord, then there's a problem. So the Lord Brahma, he knows this is the highest position in the material world. He will be given so much respect, and people will be so impressed by the creation. So he's saying to the Lord, please, let me do my seva of creation. It's my service. It's not that I am able to do it without your empowerment. And at the same time, let me not be entangled by pride. This is very, very important for us to understand. And then, this is the central basis of Bhagavatam, the Chatusloki. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, we have chapters 10, verses 8, 9, 10, 11. They are the central point, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the essence, if you like, of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chatusloki. So the Lord answers, and in fact, this is like a summary of the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Lord has summarized it. His answers in 4 verses. He explained how he is existing before, during, and after the creation. And a common question I get from the children, I had it this morning, I had it last, what's today, Monday? Or is it Tuesday? Monday. I had it the week before last. It comes again and again. Who created God? Where did he come from? And we have to try to explain that actually there is no such thing as creation of God. He is the creator of everyone. It's a little hard for the children to grasp, of course, even for adults. But we have to have faith that the Lord has always existed, always continued to exist. And through reading of the holy books, the scriptures, then we can gain some knowledge. And through that knowledge, we can strengthen our faith. So this is important. So he's explaining that. Second thing he's saying is how anything that is seen without relationship to him is simply illusion. So if we can connect everything we do to God, then it becomes real. Otherwise, it's temporary, it's false. The Lord is within everything by his energies. Yet at the same time, he lives eternally in his abode in the spiritual world. So he's everywhere and everything, but at the same time, he is present in the spiritual world. So this is very important to understand. Such a powerful points the Lord is making. A person who is searching after the Supreme Lord must search for it in all circumstances. So this is where we are. We want to find him. We want to search for him. And we'll do anything that is required in order to try to make that a successful endeavor. So this is a Chatusloki. Thereafter, the Lord disappeared, and Brahma began his work of secondary creation. So only 4 verses he spoke, and he empowers Lord Brahma. he began his work of secondary creation, Visarga. So the Sarga was the first creation, the primary creation is Vishnu breathing out. Secondary creation is Brahma entering or coming out of the lotus of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and starting the process of the secondary creation. Sukadeva Goswami explains to Parikshit that his questions as to how the universe became manifest from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions, will be answered in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned above. So effectively, Bhagavatam is the expansion of the answers to Parikshit Maharaj, and the stem from these 4 verses. So worth remembering, chapter 2, Canto 2, chapter 9, 31 to 37. These are very important slokas. So 2, 9, 31 to 37. Chapter 10. So, Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. This is the name of the Bhagavatam. This is the name of the chapter. And Sukadeva Goswami explains the 10 subject matters of the Bhagavatam. And we've talked about this. All the Puranas will have at least 6 of these. And the more that are given, like the 10 here, gives it more strength as a Purana with greater authority. So the creation of the universe, the sub-creation, that's the Visarga, the planetary systems, how there are 3 types of planetaries, lower, middle, upper. Protection by the Lord. This is such an important thing to understand. The creative impetus, what makes it, what's behind the creation, the change of the Manus, the science of God. So a lot of people think that being religious is just sentimental. God doesn't really exist. Science has replaced God. Actually, there is the science of God. So, returning home back to Godhead, liberation, and glories of Lord Krishna, who is the shelter of all the other 9 topics. And this is what really is stand out for the Srimad Bhagavatam, because there's 90 chapters on Lord Krishna in the 10th canto, and then in the 11th canto there's more. So this is why Bhagavatam stands out way above all the other Puranas, because of this fact. It's glorification of Krishna. And just put it in perspective, in the Canto 2, there's only 10 chapters. So 90 chapters in Canto 10, all about Krishna. The whole Bhagavatam is an expansion of these 10 topics. Mahavishnu expands. So he's talking about the creation of the universe. Mahavishnu enters each universe as a second expansion of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and lies on the Garbhodak ocean. That Supreme Person is not impersonal and therefore is distinctly a Nara or person. Therefore, the transcendental water created from the Supreme Nara is known as Nara. And because he lies down on that water, he's known as Narayan. Very interesting. It's known as Narayan. The sky, senses, etc. are generated from Mahavishnu. So this Mahavishnu is like the universal form. There you go. Sukadeva Goswami describes how from the universal form various manifestations take place. When the Supreme Purush desires to smell odors, the nostrils and respiration are generated. The nasal instrument and odors come into existence. So this is all due to the desire of the Supreme Purush. And we are Prakati. Oh no, we are not Prakati. We are Prakati, aren't we? Prakati, we are Jivas. We are Jivas. Prakati is material nature. So we are a tiny Purush, a very tiny Purush, so-called controller. So we also have these desires, and the Supreme Purush has these desires in abundance. So that's why these different senses are generated, and it enables us also to participate in taking in, like having the sense of smell, etc. Otherwise, there's no question of these senses coming to fruition because without the Lord's input. And the controlling deity of air carrying smell also becomes manifested. In this way, all material manifestations expand with all the controlling demigods in their allotted places. So it comes from Mahavishnu, but also with a caretaker, the controlling demigod. Vayu, for example, controls wind, etc. in their allotted places. Living beings receive material bodies according to their desires. So whatever they had desired, which when they went into the body of Mahavishnu, they continue with that. Everything is intact. Their desires have not left them. So they continue with that. He, the personality of Godhead, manifests himself in a transcendental form, being the subject of his transcendental name, quality, pastimes, entourage, and transcendental variegatedness. Although he is unaffected by all such activities, he appears to be so engaged. The Lord is busy, but he is also transcendental towards all of these items of creation. From the Lord, according to different modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of darkness, they all beings expand, such as demigods, humans, or beings from hell. So according to the different modes. Wherever we left off, we start off again. So he, as the maintainer of all in the universe, appears in different incarnations after establishing the creation, and thus he reclaims all kinds of conditioned souls amongst the humans, the non-humans, and the demigods. This is his main task, to reclaim, so that we go back to the spiritual world. There is no direct engineering by the Lord for the creation and destruction of material. That's done by Brahma. He doesn't directly connect. And Shiva, between Shiva and Brahma, the work is done. What is described in the Vedas about his direct interference is simply to counteract the idea that material energy, nature, is the creator. So this is a really interesting point. So let's have a look at what this is all about. The universal form. Bhagavatam is unique because it directs a conditioned soul towards the highest realization, bhakti. Sometime we were hearing about how some people are into tantric things and they think that bhakti is subordinate or is a little bit too hard to attain. But then going down the tantric route is just as hard. But at least with bhakti, you know you are connected with the Supreme Lord. And we will get the highest realization. It is a book incarnation of the Lord. It highlights the Aishwarya, opulence form of the Lord, before Madhurya, sweetness of the Lord. So the first 9 cantos shows the amazing omnipotence of the Lord. But the 10th canto shows the sweetness of the Lord. This is why Bhagavatam is so unique. In the second canto, the universal form of the Lord is described 3 times. In chapter 1, verses 26 to 37, Sukadeva Goswami describes different parts of the body of the universal form corresponding to different planets, elements, qualities, etc. For the yogi who can't accept the personal form of God can meditate on the Virat Rup, gradually progressing up the yoga ladder. So nobody is left out. Those who can't imagine God having a personal form like you and me, but of course, he's not like you and me. They can't imagine it. So God facilitates. He doesn't exclude them. Okay, if you don't accept my personal form, worship the formless or worship the universal form. No problem. Then in chapter 6, he describes 18 verses how Garbhadaksha Vishnu's limbs provide ingredients for the creation of universe. And the idea is that this establishes the Lord as the material and efficient cause, i.e., um, the Lord is behind everything. The Lord is not directly involved, but He is uh, causing things to happen. Chapter 10 also describes verses 10 to 35. Sukadeva Goswami describes creation of the Virat Roop through differentiation of the three features, Adhyatmika, subtle organs, Adi Bhautika, subtle organ again I've put here, maybe that's not right, and Adi Daivika. This is the sense devatas. And this is pretty challenging to understand. And the purpose of doing this, living beings receive material bodies which are first sanctioned by the Lord according to their desire. So Lord is in total control, but he may not be totally involved because he has agencies to do that for him. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 2. Any questions, any comments?
Krishna Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, when Lord Brahma was doing the secondary creation, was he, it may sound, my question may sound stupid, was he sitting in one place just on the top of the lotus when the
No,
creation? No.
no. He was always here and there and everywhere because it was quite a mammoth task, right? And our universe is a tiny universe, so he's only got four heads. So and he had some real obstacles as well because the four Kumaras they said, no, yes, thank you, Pitaji, but we're not going to we're not going to get married. We're not going to help you with the creative process. So he got angry. Then Rudra came out from his anger, and they were really angry, and they chased after him. You know, so he was actually kept very busy, running here
So
and there.
he did all this, probably he did all these activities situated in the, was the Satyalok created by then? Brahma's
Yeah, yeah.
above?
Satyalok, he would have also had a hand in creating that as well. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Correct. But then, when it comes to populating the universe, he had a lot of challenges, because it's not an easy job. But and no, he couldn't have sat in one place and just. Sometimes, of course, he's the prime minister effectively, so he's got a lot of people that he can depend on. It's a lot of souls who will assist, but he's still got to do a lot of hard work.
So he had his own place for creation when he was doing sub-creation, rather.
Yeah. So he would have, I suppose Satyalok would have been his primary residence, but he would have had to, there's a lot of work to do. So he would have had to do a lot of traveling around. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Now, when you said that the first 9 cantos show the amazing omnipotency of the Lord, and the
Hmm.
10th canto is all about the Lord Himself, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
And the 11 and the
Yeah.
last 2 cantos?
Last two cantos also, Canto 11 also gives a lot of the sweetness of the Lord. But last two cantos, well, the very last canto is more about predictions about what's going to happen in the future. And the 11th canto is a great deal of discussion between who are they? It was King Nimi. A lot of questions were asked about the supremacy. Again, touching towards the Aishwarya, the opulence, touching towards the opulence of the Lord, as opposed to the sweet pastimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you very much, Nariman. Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments? Okay, so we can stop there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, second canto ki jai. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get on to the third canto. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.